Humanity has been driven from Earth, but now it's time to take it back. Join the Reconquest and fight the Scourge on the Drop Zone Commander Hub at beastsofwar.com. In a world controlled by massive corporations, a steady aim and split-second decisions are needed for your Megacon to complete its goals. Begin your missions at the Mercs Hub on beastsofwar.com.
So, hi everybody, welcome back to What's in the Box. Time for something a lot of people have been waiting on.
Yes, this is Team Yankee Potecknov's Bears box set.
Yes, the starter force for the new Battlefront game.
Yes, exactly. And of course we've had the boot camp on it and everyone was like over the moon and loved it and had a lot But
everybody got the resin tanks and we now have the plastics.
Yes, if you haven't seen the boot camp live blog, I believe you'll still be able to get it. Can you link it?
Yeah, I'll make sure it goes into the description down below, guys. So if you did miss it, you can go back. We actually had it 2 weeks before release and everybody had a great time with this game.
Yep.
John, let's get stuck in. So, you have already opened the box and taken out what we need.
Yes, I've taken the essentials out here because in the box you get 9 plastic T-72s. You get 2 Hinds. 2 transfer sheets. 6 unit cards. And 1 card template.
Yes.
So there's a lot in this box, and the box feels, when it's empty, feels amazingly flimsy without all the content.
This worries me.
Yes, the template of Doom.
Gigantic template of Doom. I know you already had this in Flames of War, but seeing it come in the starter box, that worries me a little bit.
Once you get those artillery units in with this army,
suddenly you're chumping sections of your 6x4 table.
Which is something a lot of people find out at the boot camp, is that this is a very killy game.
Oh yes.
You need the numbers, you know.
Well, you see, this is something I thought at the boot camp, because our Americans had 5 Abrams.
Yeah.
Our Russians had 10 T-72s.
Yes, they did.
And I looked at it and went, is Abrams really going to stand up to it? And surprisingly, Americans were pulling victories out left, right, and centre.
They were, but once the Russian players figured out what they were doing with their tanks, and this is something that Oriskany said during the boot camp, that when you played the Russians as the Russians are meant to be played, when you split the unit, you know, that group of 10, if you split that into like a group of 2 or 2 groups of 5 or 2 groups of 3 and, you know, or whatever, it worked a lot better then because you were able to focus fire on one tank at a time. So if you missed with your first platoon, you got in with the second or you got in with the third.
I see. So basically it left you a lot more flexible with what you were doing.
Yeah, because if you destroyed one tank, you could then switch targets to fire at something else. So it worked out that way.
Fair enough. So we do get our lovely instructions for the T-72 and the Hind, its fuselage.
Yes. Which
I've done it again.
Yes. Which we're not going to go to that. Which I have built already.
Yes.
Which is also available on the live blog to backstagers.
Yes, and we actually unboxed some of the stuff on the live blog as well for the American side. So if you want to see the Cobras, the M113 and the Abrams, those are already there.
Exactly. So in this one we're going to be looking at the plastic Abrams first. Or sorry, not Abrams, T-72. I have out-tanked myself. I'm gone.
No, you have not out-tanked yourself. You have de-tanked yourself.
I have de-tanked myself, minus 10 points.
Let me grab the T-72.
Okay.
Because it's a really nice little kit. So, we have the track on its own separate sprue, which is nice and easy. It's got nice little lugs here at the back, so you're not getting these on back to front, which I've seen people do far too many times.
Yes, Warren with his Tiger for a start.
Yes, you get your lower hull, main gun. You have hatches, rear plate, I believe.
Yep, that's back of the engine.
And the ever-present external fuel tanks on all Russian tanks that you get. We then have our upper hull, upper turret, lower turret. What are these?
Those are mine plows.
Mine plows.
Yes.
Okay.
That was something else that they didn't come with in the resin ones for the boot camp, is that they can actually have mine plows on the front.
You have your side skirts. You have these, which I assume are some kind of smoke launcher.
They are.
You have 2 of these, which are machine guns.
Dushks! Or something else. It's either Dushk or a different type of machine gun.
Yep, and the log. At least I think that's the log.
Yes, that's the log.
That's the log.
That's the log.
Which every Russian tank in history has had.
And if it doesn't, it's not a Russian tank.
No, if it doesn't.
Except the IS-7, which couldn't have a log big enough. So.
Do you want to know the funny thing? I've actually seen a video of one of these blitzing at a tree, and with that front angle on the hull, it splits the thing and cuts the tree down.
Yep.
So, Comrade, we have no log.
We have
Sergei, 300 meters left.
front of tank is X. That's essentially what it is.
You know, it was actually really, really impressive to see this T-72 blitzing a tree and just going shoink.
Yep. Now,
Next up.
Can I wax?
Okay, wax a little.
I can wax a little. Okay, so T-72.
Yep.
NATO's biggest blunder was looking at the T-72 when the pictures first started to sneak out of the Eastern Bloc and going, it's just another Russian tank. There's nothing special about this. It's the same as T-62.
Okay. How much of a design difference is there between this and T-62 externally?
Basically, externally, you could argue they look quite similar at a distance. You know, similar road wheel layout, similar shape.
Yeah.
All the changes are on the inside of this tank. This went from archaic World War II technology and brought it right up with, almost up to date with Abrams.
So that's straight to digital age?
Not quite as digital as Abrams went, because Abrams, for some unforeseen reason, put a supercomputer into it.
Yeah, well.
But what T-72 had that made it different from all the Russian tanks before it, it had a stabilized gun.
Okay, perfect.
It had, I believe some of the later versions had laser rangefinders. Possibly some of them had thermal sights.
Okay.
It had an auto-loading gun, which...
Okay, big advantage.
So I believe maybe T-62 had an auto-loading gun as well, but the technology was better at that point. It had better power-to-weight ratio, better armor.
Right.
That's what made this tank scary.
Feared.
Yes. When the Americans realized that, hang on a minute, when they seen the first footage of these things driving around and realized the gun was stabilized, they got worried.
Yeah.
Because that's not what the type of guns that we were using at the time.
Yeah.
At the time we were using 105s.
Right.
We had the British L7 105 on Centurion.
Right.
We had a 120mm on Conqueror if we were ever going to use it properly. Abrams carried a 105 at the start as well. This is a 125mm gun.
Okay.
It's long barrel. It had a longer barrel than most tank guns at the time.
I was kind of thinking that whenever I saw them on the table, but the thing I noticed most, whenever I saw this on the table, I'm going to go to close camera really quickly.
Okay, yeah.
Because once you look at the footprint of this, this is huge compared to the World War II variants, or the comparative World War II tanks.
Yeah. Do we have that behind us?
Yes, there's one on the shelf just above your head.
Yes, there is.
There is a Sherman.
There is a Sherman, so you can compare the size.
All right, so I'll
at 1 to 100 scale.
So there's your Sherman.
Yep.
Nice little tank. Here's the footprint of this, and if I set the Sherman on top, look how much bigger that is.
Now, bear in mind that that model of Sherman is roughly about 19 to 20 feet long.
Yep.
So you're looking at a tank that's about 22, 23 feet long.
Yeah, it's... I looked at it once they started going on the table, and I looked at it and I went, this doesn't look 15 mil to me.
Yeah.
You know, it just...
But it is.
It is, because tanks grew.
Yeah, tanks grew with time. Same with the Abrams. The Abrams is a very big vehicle as well.
Yeah, they're British looking. All right, pass me the Hind. So, if we go for our first sprue, onto the close camera, we have the main fuselage. I think I got it right that time.
Yes, you did.
We have the chin turret here and some of the lower armor. Landing wheel, a light of some sort.
Possibly, yeah.
Yes, because I can see it.
Okay.
Not sure what this is. Is this part of the canopy?
Yep, that's the front lower canopy.
And I think these parts go in to actually hide landing gear and stuff.
Yeah.
Along here we have a couple of rocket pods.
Yep.
And a couple of other little components. We then move to our other sprue, which has all the business end stuff. So we have the main rotors and the two extras.
Yep.
We have lots of rocket pods. We have a couple of little wings. We have a part of the actual rotor system. Another landing wheel. Canopies for the actual rear landing gear, I think.
Yep.
The rear rotor. Rear landing gear, so you can do it either way. More of the windows for the canopy itself.
Yep.
A little piece of technology of some sort, and another couple of little wings.
And part of the tail fins, yeah.
Yeah. They're really nice kits.
They are.
And I love the fact that they're all plastic now.
And if you're backstage, like I've said before, you can go and you can watch the build on it as well.
Yeah.
You can see me struggling to work out magnetism. Not as bad as Justin did, but definitely was struggling with magnetism for a while there.
Damn it. But, right, so overall for a starting kit, John, how well do you think this is going to get you into the game?
Well, from my perspective, fine, because I think a lot of Flames of War stuff works well with tank combat. It's probably one of the It's one of the nicest scales to play with tank combat. Some people say you want to go smaller, some people say you want to go larger.
Yeah.
But when you're working at something that's like platoon level or company level, you want sort of 15 mil and smaller to work with large numbers of vehicles.
It's something Warren has talked about, that cinematic scale.
Yes.
You know. Right. Also in this kit, you get a little set of magnets.
Yep.
Just for those rotors.
Yeah, you get enough magnets to magnetize the rotors on the 2 Hinds.
Yeah. You get all of your transfers. I'm not sure if you can see them too well. I think you can just about see them.
Okay, yeah. So you get 2 of those.
Yeah, you get 2 of those, which are different. So one for the tanks, one for the Hind.
Yep.
And you then get your stat cards, which I think every single game in the world needs. You've got your T-72s. You've got
an assault landing company. That includes Hind with infantry support.
Yep. And then you get this, which is
that's the formation.
Red Banner Tank Division and the Tank Battalion.
Yeah.
So you get everything in this box you need to start playing the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to see Bannon's boys as well, just to see what you're getting in it.
Yeah.
But guys, we'll move on here. We will build this up, John, because we haven't seen the plastic tanks built.
Yes. So we will build the T-72.
Yeah. And we will see you in the second part of the video.
Keep your blaster handy. The West is a dangerous place. Fight to survive as men turn to monsters and the dead rise on the Wild West Exodus Hub at beastsofwar.com. Become a general of mighty armies at the Kings of War Hub. Take command of elves, dwarves and orcs in this game of masked fantasy combat on beastsofwar.com.
Okay guys, we're back for part 2 of Potecknov's Bears. John, you've built the resin, you've built the plastic. What do you think?
I'm glad they went with plastic, definitely. The resins were nice, but it was nice to have them just for the boot camp because, well, the plastics weren't ready at the time.
Yeah.
So, you know, everyone that went to the boot camp got a little special resin model instead of the plastics.
Yeah, well,
however,
10 special little resin models that they had to build in one day.
Yes, 134 of them in total.
Yes, that was mildly crazy.
Yes, but the plastics are excellent.
Yeah, well, we have it here under close camera, so if we show it off here. Let's see, where is it? Log is on the back.
Log is on the back.
Log is on the back.
Where it should be.
Yeah. But they're a very weighty little tank.
I think that's just because they look so low and wide. They just feel like they have a lot more weight to them. But it's not as heavy as the Abrams.
Really?
It's a lot lighter than the Abrams, yeah.
All right, what's the tonnage?
I believe the T-72 sits at about 38 to 40 tons.
Right.
Maybe just over. You know, I'm pulling numbers out of my head here. But I know that Abrams is pushing 62, 63 tons.
Okay.
So,
okay.
you know, it's that difference. So.
Right. So from the weekend, from what you saw, how do these play in game?
You swarm.
Swarm.
You swarm with these things.
Swarm.
You swarm with these things. Shawarma. Good stuff.
You shawarma a T-72?
You shawarma with the T-72s. After the battle in the pub. But yes, a lot of the Soviet players realized very quickly that you had to use pretty much real-world tactics to deal with them. As I'd said in part 1, Erskine decided that if you play these in like groups of 2 or 3 together, they're far more effective than just running all 10 forward.
So what, just hunter-killer teams?
Well, pretty much, yeah. You want to pick off stuff. You want to see if an Abrams is maybe a little bit out of place and he can't get cover fire from his friendly ones. Take him out. He's a tank down, so you can move in a bit closer.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
That's the way it works.
And the other thing, I'm not sure if this will show up properly on the camera. I'll take it off its stand.
Yeah.
But we have this, which John built at the boot camp.
Yes.
Which is a Hind.
It is a Hind.
And then he made a conversion for the glorious leader of Ludoslavia.
It wasn't really a conversion. It was more of a...
I found a flag on the back and sprayed it gold.
Yes, well, okay. Apart from the flag, that's the only thing I did to it. Apart from that, that is the straight out of the box build. So
yeah, one question.
Yes.
What paint did you use on this?
The most glorious cheap gold paint I found in here, and it sat amazingly well.
It's incredibly bling.
Isn't it? It's class.
I'm sure there'll be at least one member out there who's just going to go, I'm going to annoy all the historical peoples and do this, but
I had actually been tempted to paint my Team Yankee stuff in gloss Ferrari red and put yellow stripes up the side of them and everything.
Why?
I don't know. It was just something in my mind that was like, racing car theme.
Yeah.
Chrome wheels and everything.
Oh, why? You're taking Russians. Why are you doing it as a Ferrari? That's Italian.
Because
I'm resisting making Rush quotes here.
Well, I'd paint them like ladders, but they'd probably fall apart. So.
Well, I think overall the box set's quite good for what you're getting. You're getting everything you need to get started into your games of Team Yankee.
So your 9 tanks and your 2 helicopters in this case. So.
Everything's plastic, which has to be par for the course for any 2-player or normal starter kits these days. If you can do plastic in a company, it has to be done.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Well, guys, tell you what. Drop us your comments below. Let us know, boot campers, how you've been getting on with your forces since you got home, because that would be interesting to hear. And if you're thinking of picking this up, let us know what you're thinking of doing and where you're planning to go with it. Right, John, you and me will move on. We'll see what else we can find to unbox, and we will see you in the next video.
Anime cyberpunk style meets skirmish combat in Infinity. Experience 8 high-tech factions and fight to control the human sphere at the Infinity Hub on beastofwar.com. Fight for the Iron Kingdoms as a warcaster. Take control of the mighty jacks, arcane devices, and dark sorceries to bring the fight to the War Machine Hub on beastofwar.com.